do some of this? Okay, the House Elections Committee will come to order. Would the clerk please take the attendance?
Chair Cerniglia.
Here.
Representatives Wagella. Here. Pope.
Here.
Colazar.
Here.
Burns.
Here.
Churches.
Present.
Smith.
Present.
DeBoyer. Here. Madam Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Representative Smith makes a motion to adopt the minutes from the September 12, 2023 meeting. Without objections, the minutes are adopted. For today's agenda, we will have testimony on Senate Bill 385, introduced by Senator Geis, as well as votes on several bills. We will have Chris Swope to testify on Senate Bill 385 and answer questions from the committee. Welcome, Clerk Swope from the Michigan Association of Municipal Clerks. If you could briefly tell us about this bill, we would appreciate it.
Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to talk about this bill and for taking this up. Senate Bill 385 would allow us to accept electronic applications for our election workers who work in the precincts and other roles running elections. Current election law requires the application to be written in the applicant's own handwriting, as well as other things. So it creates a situation where we are catering to those folks who aren't necessarily the computer skills people, and what we need are people with computer skills. Elections have become highly electronic, both the check-in as well as the equipment to assist people with disabilities and various other things. So we end up with a situation where, as you can imagine, back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, they were handwriting lists of voters after they checked in, they would handwrite a list. And so handwriting did bear some importance, but we have very few things that are handwritten anymore. So the importance of seeing what their handwriting looks like or having it in their own hand doesn't make any sense. So by allowing this electronic application, we can streamline the process, and we can save ourselves from data entry, mistyped names, emails, various other things as the inspector applicants would be entering their own data, which is just a cleaner way to do it. So again, I appreciate you taking up this bill, and glad to answer any questions.
Thank you, Clerk Swope. Do we have any questions for Clerk Swope? Sure, Representative DeBoyer.
Thank you, Chair. Clerk, how are you?
Great, how are you?
Good. Would you mind just doing a very brief overview on, how your municipality goes through that process with selecting those individuals or qualifying them, and who's involved in that process, just so there's some clarity on that.
Sure.
Thank you.
So, most of our inspectors are returning inspectors. We have a pool of 700 or so, and in a given election, in a big election, we might need 500, 600. So we go through a recruiting cycle in advance of big elections, and then off election years, we kind of just use what we have. What we have been doing because of this requirement, we have a very brief electronic application where folks can sign up and get into our class, and then when they come to their first class, we would have them fill out the paper application right now. So with the electronic, we would be able to actually review their information, vet them a little bit before we actually get them into class. But we, in advance of an election, we ask for their availability, where they're able to work, and what roles they're able to do. We ask them to self-assess their computer skills, and then we assign them, my staff selects where they will be. They do have to select a political party. They can't be independent. They have to be a political party, and there's state law requires it to be a party that has gotten I don't know the exact formula, but it's a percentage of the vote in a past election. They have to be a qualified party, and we have to do our best to balance them between Democrats and Republicans, and there are certain roles that one Democrat and one Republican have to perform together. So we always have to make sure that we have at very least one of each, but we do our best to maintain a balance among each group of election workers. And then, so we do that list, and then our election commission makes the formal appointment of them. So they are appointed, in most cities, it's the clerk, the city attorney, and the assessor, although there's some variation because of home rule. And then township, I'm not sure, I think it's the supervisor, treasurer, and the clerk.
Yeah, I think that election commission piece is important for
Yeah,
people to
yeah,
realize
yeah.
that it's not just a clerk that's doing this on their own. It's that election commission comprised of those individuals. That,
And it is an open meeting, open to the public. And in addition to that, in partisan elections, we're required to, within 48 hours of the appointment, we send that to the county political parties, Democratic and Republican parties of the county, so that they can review that list. And if there's anyone, one of the requirements is when you select a party, you can't be a known advocate of the other party. So that would give the parties the opportunity to review that list and see if they believe there's anybody that says they're from their party and they believe is an advocate of another party.
that little bit of background is very helpful. Thank you.
Sure.
Do we have any other questions? Seeing none, thank you, Clerk Swope, for your testimony. I'm going to read in some other cards we have here. None of these are wishing to speak on the bill. However, Bill Zagman from the Michigan Association of County Clerks supports Senate Bill 385, as does Melanie Macy from Promote the Vote and Aaron Shore from the Michigan Department of State. And Aaron Shore also, Michigan Department of State also supports Senate Bill 374. I'll continue reading about the other bills that we're considering today. Ricky Cervantes Bicknell from Voters Not Politicians supports House Bill 4129, 4130, 4534, and Senate Bill 385. Kyle Kaminsky from the Michigan Department of Corrections supports House Bill 453, is neutral on House Bill 4534. Rusty Merchant from Secure Democracy supports House Bill 4534. Melanie Macy from Promote the Vote supports House Bill 4534. And then Bill Zagman from GCSI and Michigan Association of Municipal Clerks supports Senate Bill 374, the H1 substitute. And Judy Allen from Michigan Township Association supports Senate Bill 374. Going back to our agenda here, Representative Smith makes a motion to adopt Amendment H1 to House Bill 4129. Representative Smith, would you like to speak to your amendment?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would just like to offer this amendment because I think it would be important that we include it for all officials, election inspectors, and even ballot challengers as part of this process. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Smith. Mr. Clerk, will you please call the vote?
On the motion to adopt the amendment, Chair Cerniglu?
No.
Representatives Wagella?
No.
Pope?
No.
Colazar?
No.
Burns?
No.
Churches?
No.
Smith?
Yes.
DeBoyer?
Yes.
Madam Chair, you have 2 yeas, 6 nays, 0 pass. The amendment is not adopted.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Representative Wagella makes a motion to adopt substitute H1 to HB 4129. Mr. Clerk, will you please call the vote?
On the motion to adopt the substitute, Chair Cerniglu?
Yes.
Representatives Wagella?
Yes.
Pope?
Yes.
Colazar?
Yes.
Burns?
Yes.
Churches?
Yes.
Smith?
No.
DeBoyer?
No.
Madam Chair, you have 6 yeas, 2 nays, 0 pass. The substitute is adopted.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Representative Hope makes a motion to report HB 4129 with recommendation. Mr. Clerk, please call the vote.
On the motion to report, Chair Cerniglu?
Yes.
Representatives Wagella?
Yes.
Pope?
Yes.
Colazar?
Yes.
Burns?
Yes.
Churches?
Yes.
Smith?
No.
DeBoyer?
No.
Madam Chair, you have 6 yeas, 2 nays, 0 pass. HB 4129 supported recommendation, substitute H1.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Representative Colazar makes a motion to adopt substitute H1 to HB 4130. Mr. Clerk, please call the vote.
On the motion to adopt the substitute, Chair Cerniglu?
Yes.
Representatives Wagella?
Yes.
Hope?
Yes.
Colazar?
Yes.
Burns?
Yes.
Churches?
Yes.
Smith?
No.
DeBoyer?
No.
Madam Chair, you have 6 yeas, 2 nays, 0 passes. Substitute is adopted.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Representative Burns makes a motion to report HB 4130 with recommendation. Mr. Clerk, please call the vote.
On the motion to report, Chair Cerniglu?
Yes.
Representatives Wagella?
Yes.
Hope?
Yes.
Colazar?
Yes.
Burns?
Yes.
Churches?
Yes.
Smith?
No.
DeBoyer?
No.
Madam Chair, you have 6 yeas, 2 nays, 0 pass. HB 4130 support a recommendation. Substitute H1.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Representative Churches makes a motion to adopt substitute H1 to HB 4534. Mr. Clerk, please call the vote.
On the motion to adopt the substitute, Chair Cerniglu?
Yes.
Representatives Wagella?
Yes.
Hope?
Yes.
Colazar?
Yes.
Burns?
Yes.
Churches?
Yes.
Smith?
Pass.
DeBoyer?
Pass.
Madam Chair, you have 6 yeas, 0 nays, 2 passes. Substitute is adopted.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Representative Wagella makes a motion to report HB 4534 with recommendation. Mr. Clerk, please call the vote.
On the motion to report, Chair Cerniglu?
Yes.
Representatives Wagella?
Yes.
Hope?
Yes.
Colazar?
Yes.
Burns?
Yes.
Churches?
Yes.
Smith?
Pass.
DeBoyer?
Pass.
Madam Chair, you have 6 yeas, 0 nays, 2 pass. HB 4534 support a recommendation. Substitute H1.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Representative Hope makes a motion to report SB 374 with recommendation. Mr. Clerk, please call the vote. My mistake. Representative Hope makes a motion to adopt substitute H1 to SB 374. Mr. Clerk, please call the vote.
On the motion to adopt the substitute, Chair Cerniglu?
Yes.
Representatives Wagella?
Yes.
Hope?
Yes.
Colazar?
Yes.
Burns?
Yes.
Churches?
Yes.
Smith?
Pass.
DeBoyer?
Pass.
Madam Chair, you have 6 yeas, 0 nays, 2 pass. The substitute is adopted.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Representative Burns makes a motion to report SB 374 with recommendation. Mr. Clerk, please call the vote.
On the motion to report, Chair Cerniglu?
Yes.
Representatives Wagella?
Yes.
Hope?
Yes.
Colazar?
Yes.
Burns?
Yes.
Churches?
Yes.
Smith?
Pass.
DeBoyer?
Pass.
Madam Chair, you have 6 yeas, 0 nays, 2 pass. SB 374 support recommendation. Substitute H1.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. There being no further business before the committee will stand adjourned.